Good evening, everybody. Hello there. It's Jonina here from LOHY, and I have a beautiful guest tonight, Nina. And I've got her hair all bundled up here, so you can't yet see how gorgeous and glamorous and long it is, but you will get to see that in a moment. But I just want to wait till a few people are coming online before I get started. Once I see a few... Oh, someone said Nettie. Hey, Nettie. It's always good once a few people are online, then I know it's actually happening. Everyone's coming on. Hey, guys. So, hey, Sue. Sue's here every time. She's a legend. Well, tonight we are doing some very glamorous long hair. I've given Nina 2 towels just purely because her hair is so long. I don't want her to get... So she's got the cold shoulder guard on, and she's also just got another one to keep her warm underneath. So I'm just going to talk you through Nina's hair and what we've done to prep it. A lot of people kind of might see Nina's hair at the end of this video and then go, oh, my hair is so much like that. And so obviously you can't quite see exactly its state right now because it's in this wet, beautiful, hydrated state. So maybe if you want to explain when you started growing out your colour, Nina.
Yeah, probably just over 12 months ago. I decided to embrace my natural colour because the grey started to come through. And so I was getting blonde foils through my hair in different shades up until then. And I just went cold turkey. So, once it got past that frustrating stage, I'm now at a stage where I am loving my natural colour, feeling completely like myself. By having that natural colour, and there's just not much left of the dye now. So nearly there, and it's all blending, and I really love it.
Beautiful. Now, what I've done to prep Nina's hair tonight is I did 2 shampoos with our Nourish and Flourish. Then as I was washing Nina's hair, I just asked her, like, what are some of the things that work best on your hair, or things that you do at home that just really help you achieve results that you like. And one of the things she said was, which I think it came out in one of our lives, is she loves to just leave her conditioner in, so she doesn't rinse any of it out. And when you started doing that, what did you say?
I realised like it was like this big brain explosion discovery, and I realized that I was just before that moment washing expensive liquid gold down the sink. I realized there's not really much difference between that expensive conditioner that most people wash down the sink and an expensive leave-in conditioner that you put in your hair. So it's now killed 2 birds with 1 stone. I just use my conditioner.
So good. So what we did at the basin is I used a beautiful, delicious amount of Drench and Quench, which is our rich conditioner mask. And then I left Nina for 5 minutes with our steam micro mist treatment on. So that's just infusing more moisture into her hair and making her feel very relaxed.
That's so good.
And then I did a really gentle trickle rinse. Now, for those of you who don't know what a trickle rinse is as Nina just explained, she loves to leave her conditioner in. So all I did was, as her head was laying back in the shampoo basin, is I really reduced the speed of the water as it was coming out of the shower nozzle. And I just lightly ran it over her hairline. So basically the water was only really dripping through the scalp. Could you feel that when that was happening?
Yeah, felt good.
Yeah. And so it wasn't super hot. It was more a tepid kind of water temperature. And it just removed any possible conditioner that was maybe sitting on the scalp, so that we don't get any, scalp irritations or flakiness or possible, like, issues with getting volume and all that sort of thing. So Leaving in your conditioner is a wonderful thing if you are somebody that has quite coarse or really prone to flyaway, wiry kind of textured hair. Definitely something I recommend, but just make sure you're mindful of your scalp and maintaining a cleanly kind of scalp if you're somebody that struggles with scalp situations. So upon asking Nina what she normally does with her hair, did you say you use a curl cream or you sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes, not always. Most of the time it's just conditioner and working and scrunching that through, but I get the best results. I get good results doing that, but I get the best results when I use like a little curl creamy jelly kind of thing that doesn't leave a crunch after you've crunched it.
Yeah. Beautiful. So I'm just checking no one's asked questions yet. Nope. So basically if you feel like maybe this is a hair type that you have, or maybe as I'm doing Nina's hair tonight, you have any questions, please, if you're new to our LOHY Lives, we encourage questions, sometimes even reward them. And it's something that's not just helpful for you, but it might actually help somebody else go, oh, I have the same thing. And so please, I do encourage you to ask questions. If I don't see them straight away, somebody will alert me. Possibly my husband or one of the other gorgeous curlies will say, Jonina, you missed a question. So please do fire away your questions. Now, I'm starting with about a 10-cent size of cruise control. And I'm just working in half of Nina's hair at a time. Now, one of the things that we have, because Nina is growing out her colour, is we have a really different porosity level on the ends of her hair where there is chemical process versus the newer virgin hair that is just left at its natural colour. So I've gone heavier handed, aka my first touch was towards the ends of the hair. So that took the most of my product. So then as I'm raking through this top section, it's putting a softer amount, a less heavy, because the hair isn't as compromised as what this hair is on the ends. Do you find that that's where your hair drinks the most, Nina?
Yeah.
Is the ends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the new growth up here.
Yes. Those wonderful little shorties.
Yeah.
So we're just going to distribute here. Product first, and then I'm going to come to the other side. I forgot to turn my do not disturb, and my family Christmas chat is doing its family Christmas chat. Anyway, you get to see all of the toing and froings, Nina, that bump up on my screen.
Oh, I need glasses, so I can't.
Oh, okay, perfect. And so have you always had long curls?
I've pretty much, yeah, except when I was in year 10 and I got it cut really short with the flick sides.
The flick
That was always
sides.
That was a gorgeous look that I'll never return to.
Did it actually do the flick thing, or it didn't?
It did, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then it actually grew back curlier.
Wow.
Yeah.
So fascinating. Now in terms of a styling gel, I've just put our cruise control, which is a curl cream. It does have a soft hold, but really nothing that's going to give long lasting definition. So I heard you say before that you prefer a softer, no crunch kind of gel.
Yeah. I love something.
Do you use any of the LOHY range?
No.
Cool.
No, this is the first time, so it'll be good to see what it works like.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So Nina is a local curly, and I put shout outs in our salon Facebook page sometimes for models. So she's responded to me on there. And she has been to the salon once before. but it's been a while, so no judgment. We're all friends here. So I've used, it's really hard to show you the runniness of Oomph, but I'm using Oomph on Nina's hair, which is our more hydrating gel. And I've used a little bit over a 50-cent piece size, purely because of the length of Nina's hair. Now, I am going to slightly whip you, but I'm sure that you're used to that with your long curls.
No worries.
One of the greatest things about Oomph is it's the best intro gel or best intro product for beginners to curly gels, because it doesn't leave a cast. You can put it on dry curls, you can put it on damp curls, you can put it on wet curls. You really can't go wrong with Oomph. Hey guys, so many people joining us. This is lovely. So if you are maybe watching this and you're like, I don't know which product to begin with, or maybe you're like, I don't have the money to buy a whole kit, I just want one thing. Oomph would be the product that I would recommend you starting with. It's something I use every wash day, and even if I don't use it on the wash day, I use it as my refresh product throughout that wash cycle. So there isn't a time I don't use it, is basically what I'm saying. And more is better with this one. Less is good also, but you'll just get less definition. So from talking to Nina earlier, she really loves that soft, touchable curls, but with definition, so she can see all the lovely varying colours of her beautiful natural hair. Oh, here comes a question. I got to come in close. Probably a silly question. No, I don't believe in silly questions. Just got to dry my finger before I can. I think I'm a 2A to 2C. I have inconsistent curls. The base of my head are ringlets, but up the top I have straighter curls. Do you think that the range sound okay for me? Tracy, yes. I will teach you something at the end. It's more a technique based. Nina's hair is quite consistent in its curl pattern. You don't really get curlier ringlets in one spot, do you?
Not anymore. Not now that it's grown this long.
Yeah.
When it was shorter, I did.
Yeah.
But
okay.
not now. It's way down.
Yeah. So there's one little thing. The product choice wouldn't change for me, is what I'm trying to say here. I'm going round about it here, Tracy. The product choice wouldn't change for me in your softer, flatter curls that go through the top versus your ringlets underneath. What would change is how I dry and how I work the product. So my hair, if I just towel dry my hand for a second, I'm going to show you something. Now, if you look here at this hair strand, it's actually not that curly there. It's really just a ripple. Whereas around the front here, I look curlier because this little piece of my hair is my curliest bit. Underneath, it nearly grows flat. And so I use different points of my hair to make the rest of it all look curlier. And by doing that, I do that by how I dry my hair. So I spend a lot more time trying to, when my curls are wet, with the diffuser, really pushing the curls and pushing that really big barrel, whereas Nina could just leave her hair to dry natural. I can't. My hair goes too flat. And so I do a lot more process like this and less time around that front piece because I know it's always going to curl more. So it comes down to really your technique versus varying the products is what I would say. But it's a really good one that I could probably do a video on and try and find us a model that has two really significant different curl types. So I like that you've asked that, Tracy. And I think I'm going to try and find a model for our next LOHY Live to just show you how to work that in a live setting. because I have some clients that literally do have your hair type where it's ringlets on top and they get flat strands underneath, and I have to cut the underneath a lot shorter because otherwise it just looks like they keep growing mullets because it grows dead straight underneath. So, Maria, I find the diffuser makes my hair frizzy. If you haven't used enough product, Maria, then that could definitely be a real situation. It used to be the way that I thought curly hair always got fluffier when I used a diffuser. But if you watch us today and watch how Nina's hair doesn't go frizzy with the diffuser, you will be very surprised. Now, I'm going to use our new detangler brush. It is delicious. And I'm going to show you guys, I don't know who is on here that's watched. We did a this versus that video recently of there's a curl brush that went viral.
Is that the one with the
the knobby bits on the sides?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so I showed people how you can use this brush in exactly the same way.
Okay.
The viral curl brush, it's cool, like it's a good brush, but you can't use it for multiple things. You can only use it to set the curls. Whereas this you can use to distribute the product, and then you can use to make that really nice detailed curl clumps.
Yeah, right. Yeah, cool.
So if you can't see, I'll just turn Nina a little bit. All they've done is just kind of clipped up this top horseshoe section of Nina's hair. And I'm going to work, just because of the length, I don't want to take huge sections. Where did I put my other clip here? Because otherwise I feel like I'm going to get lost. And I do really want to make some beautiful defined curl clumps for Nina tonight. And so what I'm doing is, as I've brushed through here, you can see that I'm just lifting up slightly. So just a little above 90 degrees. And then you can just give it that little jiggle as it glides through. And the curls are just going to come into their own beautiful shape. Now, around Nina's hairline, she's got these lovely little shorter curly bits. So they're just going to do what a curl wants to do. But as we get into the longer lengths, you're going to start to see this all come into so much long hair. And you can see as I just bring it to the side here, you guys see how lovely, oh, I'm clipping my own hair here. We're getting those really good, beautiful, juicy clumps. And then just finishing it off as I glide it through. Now, I'm just going to turn you to the back for this section so everyone can see kind of what I'm doing here. Thanks, Nina. And then we'll bring you back to front view when we get to the other side. I think it's really good to show you guys the detail you can go to. You don't have to do this, guys. Now, I'm just going to pull this camera back just a tiny bit more. There we go. You really don't have to go to this much detail, but say you're going somewhere and you really just want to show off some really lovely definition, or maybe you just want to do this just around the front of your hair to get that extra banging curl. I did it just through the top section of my hair tonight when I, this afternoon when I washed my hair, because I couldn't be bothered doing the whole thing. Haven't we all felt like that? Now, if your goal is volume, that means you want to make smaller curl clumps. So you can take smaller sections and really get those lovely, smaller, juicier curl clumps. If your goal is to kind of control and reduce your volume, then take larger sections and you'll find that it will reduce the appearance of how much hair you have. So it's exactly the same as the viral curl brush. but you can take bigger sections in our detangler. It just feels lovely on the scalp too. Now, got to check if anyone else has asked any questions. No? Oh, so many people on. Hey, Louise and Val. Some new names, Kim and Carla. I haven't seen you guys on here before. Welcome. Now, if at this point you were brushing through product in your hair and you started to see your hair get really, really frizzy, this is a point where you can rectify that. If it's looking frizzy when you're styling it, it means that it isn't wet enough. Simple as that. So what would I do? I would literally grab my water sprayer, and where I'm seeing the frizz is where I would just come in and brush over the top of that and just redefine in there. Now, it is going to happen in Nina's hair because she does have shorter pieces where her greys are just coming through and new growth. And so that's kind of out of our control. And we welcome those things. The things that we can't control, we just have to adapt to. You can put a little bit more product on if they super bother you. But leaving your conditioner in, like what Nina told me works really well for her hair, is going to be something that really helps those pieces. Because they just need a little bit more love, a little bit more moisture. And so here, as you can see, as I glide my hand in under here, it's so lush. If you could see the shine, no frizz at all. And we've just got juicy, lovely, defined, curly hair. Now we're going to come to the other side so everyone gets to see this side of your lovely face. Oh, new question. What is the difference between the detangler and the original flexi brush? I think I might need one. Let me show you. I was using the other one, so it's got a bit of goop in it. Not a lot. What we found is that over time, let me turn it this way. See how it's a zigzag? The whole brush hinges on this little point. So over time, they can sometimes break, and it happens in this spot exactly. When you're kind of pulling through, trying to detangle your hair, you get a big knot. This becomes a really weak point. We asked the brush people to put like a little metal bracket in there or something to reinforce the corner, but they just aren't able to do that. So we started to look for something that didn't have the whole brush hinging from such a small point. So this is where we came at our detangler brush. It also has a slight curve to the bottom, which makes it glide along the scalp just a lot more naturally. It just feels quite delightful. Really good on kids that have really sensitive scalps. I have a product tester. She's 10 years old and her name is Kiara. And she gave me the seal of approval after the first use. She goes, "Oh, Jojo, I need this brush." So there you go. So the main thing is that the bristles, the brush back doesn't hinge on one point. It's still lovely and flexible. And it just has this really nice soft curve that just makes it really ergonomic as it goes along your scalp. Both feel quite similar, but sometimes we have received a review that our flexi brush, our original ones, just felt a little bit scratchy on the scalp. So yeah, so we listen to your feedback. We really love it. we don't know if something is annoying or doesn't work for you. So it's really helpful when we do hear from you if something's not what you expected. And sometimes the change doesn't happen straight away, but it takes a little while to develop a product and test it and make sure the quality is good and all that kind of thing. So now what I'm going to do through the top here, Nina, do you like your hair parted or do you like it just kind of wherever it falls?
Wherever it falls.
Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I am going to do what's called our classic mohawk section. So I'm taking a panel of hair that goes from one side of the scalp to the other, and I am just brushing the hair directly up. I can see that I've got no tangles. I don't really have any frizz. Tiniest bits of those short little lovely little hairs around the root area. But they are part of the furniture, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to continue to lay these sections back. So now when I did my hair this afternoon, I did this approach just through the mohawk, but I did lazy girl through the sides. And so I just basically brushed the product through and raked it with my fingers. I didn't take sections and rows. I just wanted to make sure the top looked really good. Oh, I'm hitting the ceiling with your hair. So good. And how you handle the hair, if you are watching this played back, or maybe just watch me quite intentionally now as I take this next section, how I handle wet curls is very delicately. It's really, you can mess it all up with how you touch it when it's in this stage. Hi, Joe, I'm a bit late. That's okay, Cheryl. We love that you're here. So for any of you who are a little bit late, like Cheryl, welcome. I love that she announced herself. And what we're doing here today with Nina's hair is showing you how to kind of use our new detangler brush, which I know Cheryl has, like they do the viral curl brush. The other thing we're showing is how to get really lovely soft definition in long, coarse, thirsty curly hair. And then we're gonna just have some fun. I've brought 2 hair dryers because I knew Nina had lots of hair. So I can speed it up. I used 2 on my hair today because I didn't have the patience in me all the time. So it's a good trick if you're ever time poor. Don't throw out your old hair diffuser. You can always keep it and sit it on the bathroom bench. I should take a photo of what I do. I sit it on the back of a chair in the salon, and then I lean over with one in my hand and the other one just keeps blowing air.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like the people that dry their hair in the car. They keep their fans on and just blowing.
That's me every work morning.
Yep. It's so good. Okay, so I'm going to get you to stand up for me, Nina, and we're going to flick your hair over. You've still got a towel on protecting you. So if you want to shimmy your hair over, and I'll just get you to walk backwards a little bit.
This way?
Beautiful. Yep, that's perfect. So like I said before, if it's frizzy or fuzzy and you don't have definition at this point, you can still fix it. You just need to add more water and just really go back through. But if you have fuzzy hair at this point, it's only going to get worse. So you can decide if you fix it now or you just live with the frizz, okay? Now, do you take your hair from the bottom and just come up and build the curls that way, or do you prefer to leave them and not play with them too much?
Normally at this point I'd probably scrunch upwards a bit.
Yeah, perfect. So that was what I was going to do.
Yeah.
It's just always good to hear how other people do their hair. And that squishy, squelchy sound is exactly what you want to hear. So all I'm doing at this point is starting to build, if you want to, I'll bring the camera closer actually. I'm starting to build the 3D shape of Nina's curls. So I'm just working with flat palms up to the scalp, and then I pulse like a stress ball. And what it's doing is it's really starting to build those big, juicy, barreling movements. It is in Nina's hair. It would come eventually, but we want to accentuate it and build it from the beginning. And it's just happening ever so lovely. So now I'm coming in. I've taken the cold shoulder guard off Nina's shoulders. And I'm doing the exact same motion, building from the ends up to the scalp to take some of that excess water but not remove the product. Just push the product in as we squeeze the water out. And you can see lovely, defined, detailed, styled curls. And they are ready to start to be blow dried. Now, are you comfortable standing as you are, or is it uncomfortable on your back?
Tell me where you need me and I'll do it.
No, you're perfect there. I'll just do a little bit of forward diffusing. So there was a question before, I don't like to diffuse my curls because it tends to make my curls frizzy. What you should feel, if you have the right amount of product, there should be a little bit of a slimy, kind of wet, soggy noodle feeling to your curls at this point. That means you've put enough product in, and I could come in and diffuse and know that I'm not going to create frizz. And so all I'm doing now is repeating the exact same movement I was doing with the cold shoulder guard. Or say you're using an old shirt or maybe one of our curl gloves. And what I'm doing is just starting to take some of this moisture out. And it's a really important detail to make sure you come right up to the scalp here. A lot of times as a hairdresser, when people come and sit in my chair, they go, I can get curls on the ends of my hair, but I struggle to get the curl forming at the roots. And quite often it's because they get so worried that if they disrupt their curls or come too close, they're going to make their hair fuzzy. But it's really important for the consistency of the curl that you need to actually bring the diffuser to where you want the curls to start. So all we've used tonight on Nina's hair is we did leave in the Drench and Quench. I rinsed through the roots. Then we applied Cruise Control. It was about 10 cents each side. And then we applied probably a 50 and a 20 cent size of oomph per side. Just so that for those of you who are trying to remember what we've used. Now, every now and then what may happen, I'm going to flip Nina over in a moment, but what may happen as your hair is drying is, when it's in this wet stage, is sometimes your curl clumps will find other curl clumps and gravitate towards them and become really big, thick curl clumps. And I did a video the other week about how to expand your curls. So this would be the point where you would just go back through, and if you found any curls that have gotten a bit too juicy, a bit too thick, is you just want to basically run your finger down and separate those extremely thick ones so that you have more curls, more volume, and it doesn't take as long to dry as well. So come on up with me, Nina, and just give it a little sway. Gorgeous. Perfect. We can sit back on this lovely chair now. Keep you comfier. Now, let me just check here. Oh, yep, I do have. I am going to use a few root clips. I think one of the things that maybe is what also makes your short fuzzies stand out is that maybe you don't get as much volume at your roots on a wash day.
Yeah.
So they poke out taller than everything else.
That would make sense, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, what I'm going to do is just use a few of these little clips, slide them through at your roots to try and give you greater root support so that then maybe your short little fuzzies aren't the main attraction.
Yeah, good.
And this may help. So maybe if you're someone that finds that your main attraction at the front is your short, flyaway, grey little cheeky hairs, grabbing some of our little root clips. They do come free in most orders. And all you want to do is just lightly pinch them open. Not like this, just ever so slightly. And then if you watch here, I'm just gently pinching Nina's hair high and sliding it along the roots. I'll come in a tiny bit closer. I'm just knocking some hair dryers over. So tiny pinch open. Slide them in. They're basically acting like scaffolds to hold the clumps of curls around there to dry up at a higher angle so that we get that lovely consistent curl structure, curl shape around Nina's face. Great if you are somebody that has a cowlick and maybe you have quite problematic curls, then using the root clips, amazing. I'm going to put a little bit of the hairspray at the root area just to help support the volume in that area. Okay, now we are going to keep drying. I'll just bring you back a little bit. Okay, so I'll turn it to the side. Beautiful. And wonderful thing to remember at this point is how you handle the curly hair. I'll bring you over here. Now, you want to really make sure, I call them crab claws. So I'm picking up the hair, popping it in the diffuser and coming up to the roots like so. I'm not raking through, I'm not tussling the hair. I'm only ever grabbing it with my crab claws. If we disrupt the curls too much at this point, we will get floofy, flyaway hair. Hi Kim, hey Kelly. So many lovely people joining us. So a really big thing if I can't remember who asked, if it was Tina at the start, that she gets quite flyaway hair. Really look at how you're handling your hair as well in the process of drying it. It will make such a big difference, like massive difference. Now, one of the things that can happen over time, as Nina and I have been talking, is that the more you gain grey hair, the whole consistency and types of products that you maybe once used on your hair may need to change quite dramatically, or like Nina discovered, leaving the conditioner in has been a game changer for her hair. For me, if I did that, it would be just kind of suicide for my curls. It would just flatten me completely out, and I'd have no capacity to get curl. Whereas, because there is such jump to those grey hairs, they struggle to hold the moisture like what the virgin hair, the natural hair can. So you really need a lot more weight in there to hold them down and to give them that extra nourishment. When the hair strand is void of melanin, aka it's a white hair strand, the composition's completely different. It doesn't have colour. It often changes the whole texture, which means it absorbs moisture completely different. So it's not that you've all of a sudden started neglecting your hair. It just also may mean that your hair strands actually just need something a little bit different. It's one of those wonderful aging moments. And what a beautiful thing it is to age. We have to remember that. Not everybody gets that privilege. Now, one thing I do notice, Sue, the grey hair is my problem. One thing I will say, I'll get back to you, Sue, is that sometimes in longer hair, it can feel like it gets all a little bit tangled. And so what you'll see when I'm letting it just fall is I'm just pinching it, lift, and I'm giving it a light little shimmy. The purpose of the shimmy was just to let it fall back in its spot and not get tangled upon itself. Due to the length of these gorgeous curls, is that it can get tangled upon itself when you are lifting it up into the diffuser like I am. So Sue, do you find that your grey hairs are quite jumpy and don't sit as part of the curl party, like what we've kind of been chatting with Nina, or are your grey hairs a bit different? To wait for her to respond, but it's good to yeah, they pretty much have a mind of their own. Nina's having a chuckle here. Yes. It's very tricky. I wonder, Sue, I can't remember exactly what your hair is like, but I wonder if the conditioner trick would work well on your grey hair. Maybe something you could try next wash day. I was telling Nina at the basin that one of my clients, she discovered this technique by accident. She ran out of hot water and it was winter and she's like, I'm not rinsing it in cold. So she hopped out of the shower and got the best curl day of her life. And purely because the water ran out. So it's really something that's working wonders, and she just uses the drench and quench and leaves it in. Sue, I might try that. Do you use the Nourish and Flourish or the drench, Sue? Like, it doesn't solve the whole problem. Like, they are still jumping around up here, but it does feel like they're a little bit more compliant. A bit tamer. Yeah. Welcome, Dan. Got a few more guys joining the group. Sue, I mostly use Nourish and Flourish. I do the drench and quench occasionally. Well, maybe just try, if Nourish and Flourish is your main one, then I would try doing the Nourish and Flourish conditioner and leaving that in a little bit and seeing how your grey hairs respond. And if they're a little bit more compliant and playing to the party a bit better. So as you can see at this point, I really could leave Nina's hair just to air dry the rest of the way. I've got really good curl structure happening here, consistency of shape, volume happening with the clips at the front. So it's really just because we're on camera now that I'm finishing off this drying. But I would imagine if she was at home, are you someone that would leave it to air dry? Yeah. So it's definitely something at this point you could definitely just go, we're just going to leave it now. But it's for the gram, so we're finishing it off. Now, I'm just going to find, wait a second, our previous question about the curl type. Hopefully, Tracy, you're still here. Now, I'm going to show you a different technique here, Tracy. I was just starting to do it and then I thought I actually should say why I'm doing this. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just literally laying the diffuser under the hair here. Now, in this moment, I'm not really building the curl structure. I'm purely just drying the curls as is. So in your underneath section, or if you're watching this video, maybe you have varying curl patterns across your head, one thing you can do is where you have a lot more curl, is really do what we call a hover or a flat lay diffuse, where you're not really trying to build the curl. And then in those flatter areas, wherever they are, whether they're the top or the underneath, then you would pick up and do that cupped diffuse and really build the curl where you are desiring more movement. So where you are trying to elongate, you just come in with a flatter and let the air just blow through the curl clump without too much of a worry. And then build the curls in those flatter, less curly sections. I'm going to twirl you around now to the front, Nina. It's all starting to take lovely shape. Have you had a touch of that side? Have you felt the curl?
I have, yeah.
How does it feel?
They're good, yeah.
Do they feel crunchy?
Not too crunchy. It's just got that nice cast on it, which is really lovely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so have you always had curls, Nina, or has it been something that's come in more since you've got more grey?
No, I've always had them.
Yeah.
Even as a toddler.
Yeah, wow. Now, you actually said something else to me at the basin that I just remembered then.
Yeah.
Now, what's been one of the biggest changes you've noticed since stopping colouring your hair?
I have noticed my hair has grown like wildfire. So when I coloured it, it wouldn't grow past here. And it was kind of like, stunted a bit. It's still long and I still loved it, but since I stopped colouring, it's just grown so much. It's also gotten healthier and thicker, and sometimes not so much shinier, but it's just got a lovely luster.
How good is that?
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I'm embracing it.
Put it on you. So I think hearing that, I've noticed it as when I've helped people grow out their grey hair and embrace it. But sometimes I think we get worried about the changes and the inconsistency of the colour.
Yeah.
But I think when you focus on all the positive things that will come if you do embrace your grey.
Yeah, definitely.
Knowing now that you can have this long, healthier hair.
Yeah.
It doesn't just break off anymore.
That's it.
What a wonderful change.
Yeah, it's great. And I think once you get past that challenge of the demarcation line up top, and it grows to about ear length, it's not so bad, especially with curls, because it just blends all up and starts to look like streaks. So
I do tell people once they get past their cheekbones, it's out of sight.
Absolutely, and that's exactly right.
Yeah.
But you just need to be brave and, I guess get past that bit, and then you can't wait for the rest to grow out.
Yep. So if you struggle with getting your curls to grow, and maybe you colour your hair, it may not be super frequently, but it may just be something that pushes your hair past its point. So it may not be that your colorist is bad, it may not be any of those things, it may just be something that compromises too much integrity for your own personal hair strength. Embracing your own natural colour is something that, or choosing a lower colour, a lower strength colour, sorry. So I get my hair coloured about every 9 to 10 months, and I use a mineral blonde. So it's called a high lift blonde. So there's no bleach in it, and it can only lift it to like a goldeny colour, which I prefer. I like golden tones. It's warmer and more glowy on my skin. And because it's not a bleach, it can't take away that internal structure like what your peroxide sort of things can do. So it's a much more gentler colour. But if you're someone that loves a blonde, then you just kind of have to wear the consequences of blonde. I like a bronzy, glowy kind of colour, and there's healthy ways in doing that, and keeps the curl structure there. It's a big movement that's happening on Instagram. Heaps of big famous hairdressers are talking all about, bleach-free balayage, because people are wanting healthy. We don't want compromised hair. And maybe we're starting to get older and wiser. I hope we are learning. Well, what you've just told us, you know, your hair's now growing, Nina, because you're not taking it through the ringer.
And I also, it feels more like me.
Wow.
Yeah, I've always felt comfortable with my hair and loved it, but I've never felt more myself. It's just, yeah, and it's amazing how your natural colour just lets your skin glow.
Yes. And
it brings your eye colour out to how it should be.
Yeah.
So it just ends up suiting your face more too.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Okay, Maria. I would like to embrace the grey, but mine doesn't grow out nicely. I might ask my hairdresser about the high lift you mentioned. Would she stock it? Yes, pretty much every hair colour range has a high lift. Maria, do you currently have blonde foils? Is that, or are you having a root colour? Probably the best way to figure out what you're asking here, just so I can guide you. But I think, Maria, from what Nina said, it's only that difficult bit, just that top section.
Especially from here to here. And then, yeah, once it gets to here, there's no problem.
Did you have anything, did you wear like headbands or headscarves?
No, I just went cold turkey and I had to get myself to the stage where I just thought I just can't care about it. And yeah, it was the best way to go.
Maria, yes, I have blonde foils and a darker base. Cool. So what you could start to do is just go cold turkey. It is the hardest way, but there's actually no easy way to grow out and embrace your colour. Sometimes as hairdressers, we can help soften it a little bit, but it doesn't really, it's just got to grow out. There's no kind way about it. So yes, the other thing that some people do is they just kind of stop getting the base colour done and just get a few foils to then start to see some of the grey to soften the demarcation. Nina chose just to go the whole thing. But it does depend on your personality and what you're up for. And nobody can tell you what's right or wrong for your situation. But yes, the mineral blonde works really well in not causing as much damage. And it will give a softer lift, so it tends to not blend as well with the greys because it's leaving it a bit golder. Very different colour tones here, silvers versus gold. So I would recommend this for anyone who's starting a colour journey or wants to enhance what they've got. I don't know if the mineral blonde would necessarily help you in the growing out of your grey. It would help lessen the damage to your hair that bleach can kind of create. Okay, we're almost dry here. Just these front cheeky little bits. You are welcome, Maria. Thank you for your questions. Now, anyone who does decide to go grey, there is a Facebook group called Grey, Silver and Curly. And sometimes I know that you will probably have had moments in the growing out where you thought, this is too much, or I don't like how this looks. And nobody in your house, your husband, your partner, your kids, they're not going through it with you. So in this Facebook group, Silver and Curly, I'm not part of it, but oh my gosh, these women will just cheer you on. And they'll go, look at me, I've started a journey, or, and it's great. So if you are looking Maria, or Louise. Join the Facebook group Silver and Curly and share your little moments of win. See what other people are doing that helps them throughout their journey of embracing the grey. Because you need a little cheer squad.
I'm on a couple of those.
Are you?
Yeah, they're fantastic. They just give you so much encouragement and inspiration.
Because unless your best friend is doing it with you, you are solo. Louise, I've started my transition and my hairdresser put a toner and mine to soften. Yes, toners work. This is hard. Sometimes the toner will creep up higher and then it will slow down your growing process. So just make sure she's not overlapping. It's easy to do. And I'm saying that because I'm a hairdresser. Kaya, how do you feel about purple shampoo conditioner to stop the brassiness? Do you want to talk about where you use?
Yes. So I had a lot of very gold ends. I was using a purple shampoo and conditioner. I found that you have to be really selective in which one to use because some can dry your hair out really badly. I was then recommended blue shampoo and conditioner because it's better for that copper goldy kind of tone. And once I started using that, it was amazing. It turned the gold into this beautiful ice blonde colour that really blended with my greys really well. And that's whenever I'm feeling a little bit too gold right on these tips.
Yeah.
That's what I use is my blue, mainly my blue conditioner, but I do have blue shampoo as well. And I find that works way better than purple.
So little things like that you'll get in that Facebook group. Amazing support. But yes, one of the great things is as it grows down is you probably don't need as much of the product in that area, but more the tonal balancing of it on the ends where you're growing out the colour. So that's a really good thing to be aware of, is as it grows down, it kind of changes. So purple conditioners, shampoos, amazing. Thanks, I'll try the Facebook page. I'll do. You'll find beautiful friends. And you'll feel really inspired to continue. I think that's the most amazing thing. Like this group here is to support you in embracing your natural texture. Their Facebook group is kind of the equivalent, but to help you embrace your natural colour and last the journey of the grow out. I have had clients come in and I've cut their hair pixie short, because they knew they couldn't do the demarcation. And so everybody's really different in what they have as a capacity. And so whatever works for you is right for you. But those Facebook pages are excellent. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walkie out these little root clips. Now, when you're putting them in, if you push them in too far, and I'll show you what I mean by that on my own hair, they can get quite tangled. Easier for me to pull them out than for you guys. So if I was clipping them in my hair, see how I've stopped it just at my hairline? If I pushed it in, now when I go and pull it out, it's probably going to have a lot of my other hairs caught around it. So just a really good tip is to make sure that the end of it is sticking out onto your forehead. That's a little tip. Okay, so I'll get you to look up to the ceiling, and I'm just going to come through. And all I'm doing at Nina's roots is just a gentle zigzag. I'm just kind of awakening some movement in there. Then we'll come on forward. Now sometimes I do just pinch and do a gentle, like a rope squeeze through the tails. Let me take this off because your hair looks much nicer without a black towel underneath. Do you want to have a little fluff around, Nina? Have a little feel of your hair?
Oh, it feels so soft.
softer than normal.
Yeah. Yeah, that product's beautiful. Nice. You've done good.
Yeah. So you can obviously see, if you want to lean forward, I just want to show that there is still some of those cheeky grey fuzzies. But when the roots dry that little bit with a bit more lift through there, they're not the eyesore. So that would probably be tip number 1, is just getting a bit more lift in that root area. Does that feel like more volume than what you normally get around there?
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to do that at home too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
I think that'll make a big difference. So if grey stubborn hairs are your problem in your hairline, if you can't beat them, join them or beat them. And so just setting that little bit more volume in your hairline is going to make such a big difference. And you can see how lovely and soft. It doesn't look weighed down with product, even though we left all the conditioner in. Put a little bit more conditioner in our curl cream and then a heap of gel. It's still lovely and touchable. And
feels great.
Feels
I just
good.
want to keep touching it.
So, as per normal, if you have questions and you're not watching Nina or I live, it is okay. You can ask all the questions that the other people have asked. Just comment below in the video. I would love to answer them. If they're questions personally for Nina, I can pass them on to her and get her to respond. But we are here to help answer questions about curly hair. So if you have them, comment them below, and we would love to see you feel inspired and feel like you understand what to do to make your hair feel the best version of yourself, or to support you in feeling like your best self, really. Yeah. Anything from you, Nina, before we finish up?
No. Thank you for sitting with us.
Oh, yeah, thanks. And thanks for being our model tonight.
You're
it's so
welcome.
nice.
It's been a pleasure.
Well, we'll see you next time, guys. And I've got some ideas. What brand is the blue shampoo? Good question.
Oh, can I let you know and you can answer?
Yes.
I haven't got my glasses on, so I can't see who the question's from.
It's from Margaret.
But I will let you know. And if you
and
can
I
pass
can comment.
them on, that would be great.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
We can do that. We'll let you know, Margaret, because other people I'm sure will ask that question.
Yeah.
But yes, I just think it's so wonderful, and I will look into a next LOHY Live, whether we do 2 different curl patterns where we're kind of showing how to balance and try and build consistency, or I have a different idea, but I'm going to talk it through with my team. It came to me while I was diffusing, so I'll let you guys know. See you guys. Thanks so much.